All right. Thank you, ladies. I'm so excited we get to be here. We have Margie, who's going to be talking about balancing your creative and personal life. And I'm so excited for that. So,
I'm
if
excited
you
too.
want, let's just start how we kind of do our painting. We can get back into the space. You can get comfortable, close your eyes, and we're just kind of getting ourselves centered to have this conversation, to listen to all of the goodness that's coming through, to also share your experience, to be open to whatever knowledge, insights, perspective changes are going to come through. And we can take one deep breath in, hold it, and then release it. We're just getting present to this moment, to our bodies, to the seats we're in, to the rooms we're in. And when you're ready, you can join the space. Yeah, that was a short one, but it's just a way to get us back into our circle. I feel like it's virtual, but it does feel like our circle that we've continued from July, because you guys are all part of the old school group that has met since July.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Margie, how are you? How's it going today? We can just start with where you're at today, what you're feeling, what's going on.
Well, it's funny. I did share with Monica yesterday that a lot of times if I have to speak in a group or, um, you know, whatever I have to speak about, I usually have to experience before I can talk about it. And I think it's great in a way to stay true to what you're talking about, but also it can make you a little frazzled at times. I have to balance quite a number of things lately, and I would love to be the one to tell you that, I have this bottle of balance, and if you buy two, you'll get one free, but it's just not quite that easy. But I think that balance is definitely a process. It's a process, and it has a lot to do with self-awareness and self-acceptance. Awareness that, guess what, we're not always going to get it right. We're not always going to be in control of things, but I think that we can always, what I like to think of as quieting ourselves and finding our center. We are our own balancing scale, to know what we might need to take out, or what things we need to add to keep the balance.
Yeah. So where are you? Like, what's your balance scale today? Like right
Okay.
now in this moment.
Today, right now, I would say that it's very balanced, but one side's a little heavier. I have a few things going on. I'm actually getting ready for my dad to have heart surgery. To have heart surgery, my painting, and balancing his household and my household. And I was dealing with I also have rheumatoid arthritis, and my body started to reject the meds. So of course, if I can't move, that affects everything. That affects me being able to take care of my dad, take care of my own household, creating, as far as being an artist. There was so many things going on. And so I decided that I could only do one thing at a time. And what was the most important thing was to speak to my doctor about changing my meds, and finding the right thing, because sometimes, you don't want to I already take a few meds, so I didn't really want to add to the list, but it was like, okay, this is not working for me, and it's affecting my quality of life, and affecting the way, sometimes, even being in COVID, I think everybody understands how sometimes you can just be like, just tired of being on the inside, and sometimes not having, uh, feeling like you need to get out. What do they call that? They call that what kind of fever? Cabin fever. You know, like you just have to get out and do stuff. And, you know, when you're not feeling well, you don't get a chance to do that. You're kind of stuck in the house. And when you're stuck in the house, sometimes if you like me and you overthink things, you're kind of stuck in your head about all the things you need to do and all the things you're not getting done because you're not feeling well. And so my first thing was to make sure that I changed my meds, and that happened pretty quickly. And even the process was pretty quick, quicker than usual, because you know how sometimes you have an insurance and you have to get pre-authorization and that takes time, but everything seemed to work out. And I'm not 100%, but I would say I could feel myself getting better every day, where I was able to do a little bit more. In regards to my dad, he's 82 years old, so we're not doing any type of open heart surgery. We found a way that they can do a procedure that best works for him. And so getting him to all his appointments, and, you know, I'm usually pretty good with it, but you know, the other day I thought an appointment was at 1 and it was at 11, you know, and I'm so grateful for that little word called grace that you get it from people. And so they allowed us to be seen, and my dad was a really good sport about it. You know, he could have been like, oh, you know, you're making me late, but he was just like, it happens, you know. So I'm grateful for those moments where you have people that are around you that say, it's okay. It's okay, you're human, you know? And so trying to do that, trying to balance out some art that I have that's unfinished because of, you know, the medications and stuff not working. But now feeling like, okay, I can do this now, you know. And then my sister coming over, and she kind of helped me find my creative space by removing some things and around, and, you know, like it really looks nice in my spot, you know, like I feel good. You know, sometimes when there's so much clutter, sometimes you feel like you can't think, you can't move, you can't breathe. And so I kind of feel like, all right, this is great. Like I feel like things are coming about. And if they weren't, I still could come to you and say, you know, I don't have it all together, ladies. I don't have it all together, but I'm working at it. And my scale, I'm still trying to balance it out. And I think that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think that sometimes you can have a few things that will help you. You know, there are things like the word no is a beautiful thing. Because guess what? You cannot make every baby shower. You cannot make, especially now with COVID. But even if sometimes getting on Zoom is too much, you know, knowing, you know, trying to keep your schedule to maintain your household and do things for yourself. Yeah, sometimes you might have to say no to some things, and it's not going to hurt. You know, people tend to understand even more so now, you know, because of COVID. They're like, I don't blame you, girl. I don't blame you, girl. I'll catch you on the next one, you know. So being able to say no, sometimes having that me time, that time to quiet yourself, you know, that to really quiet yourself, whether it's listening to your music or especially that beautiful music that Monica plays for us. And sometimes just being quiet, sometimes just taking a nap, sometimes just the solace, you know, just the reading, maybe reading, you know, for you, it might be reading. And I think that's a wonderful place to just be quiet, you know, and then things will come to you about what's important and how to prioritize, right? I don't
I was
know if
gonna ask just right there, because I think I'm thinking of today. You're at such a great place, and you gave us so many of the pieces of how you got there, which is really prioritizing what was like the one thing you needed to focus on, which is your health and getting that right.
Yeah.
So then you can handle everything that's going on with your dad, and then you can have space to have your friend like really receive her love, really receive her help.
Yeah.
And so I think those three things really, like you gave us these little steps that led you. So for someone who's maybe not right there today, like maybe who's a few steps behind a little, like what helps you get that quiet space? Can you even get that quiet time when you're still trying to figure out what's the one step that you need to take?
Well, I will say that sometimes it's best to try your best to get it, to demand it. You know, when we want to get our hair done, wild horses cannot stop us. When we want to get our nails done, you know, and sometimes we have to demand the quiet space or the quiet time for ourselves. Because if you don't, you'll burn out. You know, you burn out, you feel tired, you feel frustrated, and you feel for some people, they get in that weird, awkward space where, okay, now you're depressed and now you're dealing with that. So sometimes you have to um, sometimes I always say you always have to be your first primary care physician and you know, and order yourself to take that time away and get it, like get it in, you know, don't let anything stop you. I actually have a painting called Serenity. I'm not showing it today, but it's called Serenity, and it's about you having your peace within, to not let anything or anyone take it away from you. You know, hold on to it for dear life. And if anyone or anything cost you your peace, that means they're too expensive, and to let it go. You know, so it's just like, I think it's really important to sometimes you just have to do it for yourself and just say, I need this time, you know, or, you know, even if it's best friends, and sometimes, you know, they have, you know, you want to be there for them, and they might have a moment, and it's okay to say, you know what, Monica, I want to hear everything that you're saying. Would you mind, you know, like, can we talk? You know, I really want to hear what you're saying. I got a few things going on, but can we talk tomorrow, or can we talk at the end of the week, just so that I can get myself together? Because sometimes as friends, we love each other, and we take a bullet for each other, but sometimes it might be too much. It becomes a pile-on, and we're no good to each other if we're carrying our stuff, trying to carry someone else's stuff. We got to deal with our stuff first, so that we can be good for our friends and our sisters, you know.
And Joellen says, schedule time for you. That's what she's hearing.
Yes, schedule time for you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing also, like, there's a commitment to serenity. And like, you recommit every single day to that, every single moment, and it doesn't look perfect, but part of that is commitment to yourself, and also saying it to your friends or anyone else, any other obligations that might, like you said, cost too much, be too expensive for that exchange to happen.
Yes, and a lot of times I believe it has to do with our own perceptions. You know, we can look at the day and be like, oh, I didn't get the laundry done today. You know, and sometimes it's like, it might seem like a big deal, but it's like, you got to think about, what did you get done today, or at least you feel a little bit better. You took that nap and you feel a little bit better today, and we'll try again tomorrow. Like this, we hope and we pray that there's always another day for us to get it done. You know, sometimes we take things to be so serious. Oh, I gotta get this done, and and it's just like, give yourself a break, because sometimes your body will let you know you need a break. Mm-hmm. You need a break.
How often or how easy is it for you, or not, to listen to your body when it's giving you all of these messages, for you personally?
Okay, well, I think that if you don't listen to your body's still not going to stop talking. And if you overwhelm your body, it will let you know. Like, you will sit down before you fall down. I think your body will always let you know if you're doing something wrong. You know, whether you're eating a certain way. You know how we feel when we're eating good. We feel strong. But when we're not eating well, I'm not talking about a little snack here and there that we like to nibble on, but I'm talking about when we practice eating bad, your body will let you know. And it'll start talking to you like, oh, so you're going to eat that. You're going to eat that. Oh, so you don't mind laying down and not being able to get up, or you got that cramp, or you got that, that ache, that something bad things can give you. Oh, you want to spend time in the bathroom. You want to spend time in the bathroom? Oh, you don't remember the last time you did that, right? So, your body will let you know. So I think that, you know, like we have to kind of get in tune. Maybe we don't know, because some of us, you know, we work, you know, we have family, is really no time for ourselves. But let's be conscious to make that time, because it's a worthwhile investment. You know, some of us are mothers and have children. Of course, your children are everything to you. You know, hey, you know, I understand that. But if you're not here, or you're not in a good place, how good are they?
Yeah. So then we've gotten a little bit about like your almost that seesaw, that balance, a little bit of what's happening personally. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's happening creatively?
Creatively, wow. Could I sent you some pictures. Could we share?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let me pull them up. Okay. So are you
You
able
could pick one. Can you pick one or no?
No, unfortunately, I have
Okay.
two on one page. If you want, you can tell me which one you want to start.
Okay, let's start with the first one. In the first one, there was this is called The Revealing, and it was a lot of emotion that went into it. It depicts quite a number of things that was going on in my life. I was thinking about changing jobs. I was dealing with my rheumatoid arthritis, and there was another time when, you know, my mom had passed. She was sick. She didn't pass yet, but then she did pass, and it was just all this emotion. And I remember I'm a person of faith, you know, like I believe in prayer, I believe in God, and you know, I feel like He's never let me down. But in those moments of my pain, physically or emotionally or mentally, there were moments where I was like, okay, God, I didn't sign up for this. You know, like it was really hard, and it was hard to have faith, you know, when I was just seeing and feeling so much pain. But I tried my best to, you know, just believe. And, you know, even in the midst of all your problems and things that are going on, you know, I always feel that God sends people, you know, whether it's a phone call to say, how you doing? Or someone coming and saying, you know, I know that your mom is sick, or your mom passed. How can I help you? You know, or just let me check on you. And, you know, even through my pain, I was still painting. You know, to me, that was very therapeutic for me. So it was just like kind of pressing through, still being able to see the good things, you know. And so I'm glad to say that, you know, I made it through that time, you know, and that I'm good. But there's always those moments, you know, like this is the life, you know, that you're gonna have the mountains, peaks, and valleys of life. You're gonna have that, but I guess it's how we perceive it and how we, you know, are we gonna live it and live it in color, you know? You know, and it's you know, it wasn't really a pun for that painting, but are we gonna live it out loud, you know, or are we going to, you know, just feel like, you know, this is not working, you know, life is bad, there's so many good things going on, you know, there's so many good things. The next painting is called
Do you
Free to
want
Be.
me, I'm sorry, do you want me to make them a little bigger?
If you could.
Yeah. How does that look on your screen?
It's fine to me. How about you, ladies?
Yeah. So we can move. This is the second one, right?
Yes.
So what's the first one called?
It's called The Revealing. So it was really about, it's really about who are we when things are not going quite the way we want them to, or when we're not in control of things. Do we isolate? Do we become angry and bitter? Or do we still look for the light? Do we still look for the positive things till we can get through it? Okay. Any questions about that one? Or any
I have a
statements? Because I
question
would
for
love to
you
hear.
about what did that time or even this painting reveal to you?
It revealed to me that I'm resilient. I'm, I'm imperfect. I'm loving. I'm strong. But I have moments. So I have moments of weakness, and guess what? I have no apology for it. Like it's me. It's what makes me me. My mom, of course, that hurts my heart, to talk about it. But, like I believe in heaven. I feel like she's in a good place, and she dropped a lot of good nuggets for me. And so is to continue the legacy. The rheumatoid arthritis, it lets me know that, I don't like to be sick. So my health has to be a priority, but it also lets me know that even in the midst of it, I was still painting, and one day, who knows, I might be on the face of one of those medications, and I'm like, I use, Rinvoq, and this is what it did for me, you never know what you go through, and the conversations that I've had with other people who go through other autoimmune diseases, and problems with mobility and things like that, so people can relate to that. And so it's just like, okay, what revealed to me is that I'm human, but I'm resilient, and I'm going to keep moving. And yes, there may be other times like that, but I'm going to remember that hard time, and my belief system, my friends and the people who got me through it is going to push me and propel me forward.
Yeah, go ahead, Joellen.
So the one thing that I found so unique about the drawing is when you actually said that you were wondering, like, why did your higher power give you so much to deal with? But the beauty of the photo is very focusing on the center. And I found that to be really moving to hear you say, like, you questioned your center, your God, but at the same time, you're painting, either you can look at it, it drew you back to the center, or you drew strength from the center. So I found that to be really moving as you talked. Like, I could see different phases within your art of, like, when you look at the one that there's, like, it has like the dark color in the top, I guess it would, my screen, it's the right one. But when you look down into that, it looks like a woman is kind of like reaching down for strength.
I love it.
So I was seeing, but then when you were saying, like, I knew my mom was on the right path, and then I see another one next to it, how it looks like the river, the green of the river is going out. Again, you're releasing that she's on her path. And then kind of like each, the emotion that you're describing, it, depending on how you look at the photo, the painting, I should say, it just really pulls in or out from that being that you were explaining. So I just wanted to give you that, because I just was
Thank you.
I really could see the emotion.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I love it. Thank you. Okay. Wow. That's amazing. I'm going to carry that with me, Joellen. Okay. So this is Free to Be Me. And it's just all the things all the complimentary things, all the quirky things, all of the complexities, just loving who you are and accepting who you are. That's what this painting represents. And it's just loving who you are and holding no apologies to those things that, just make us human and make us vulnerable sometimes. And, just love to be you. Because if you look at her, she looks very confident. She looks very serene. She looks very, things can be happening, but she continues, she continues.
She like allows the wind to come to her, and I could see the strength because her chin's up.
Yes.
She's facing it straight on, but enjoying the beauty of what's coming and allowing it to flow, which is so beautiful.
I'm glad you like that. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, and this is also, you said this is fluid art, the type of art
Yes.
that you do?
Yes, it's called pouring, but it's also known as fluid art. And I love it. It is definitely something that I enjoy and I'm very passionate about. And it's more than just pouring paint, and it's kind of a dance that I do with it. And so I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, because when I look at these, there's a lot of trust, because a lot of this is, there's not much control in how you how you pour it, where it falls on the page.
Yeah.
But there's so much beauty, there's so much strength, there's so much
Thank you.
like emotion.
Thank you. And so I hope that when you look at it, you can kind of reflect on your own strength. Sometimes we think we don't have any, but we have, as women, we have a lot of power, and, we need to walk in that. We need to walk in that. And it doesn't matter if you are a housewife with 3 kids, or you're the CEO of a business. You embrace who you are, and you walk in it and walk in integrity. It means something.
Mm-hmm. Let me move this
So
over.
Monica, it looks like there's something on the chat too, so you know.
Okay, so let me see, because when I'm on this screen, I can't see the chat for some reason.
So I'll read it.
Yes,
So
please.
it says, I was going to say that if you dance while you're painting.
Oh.
Yes, it depends on what I have on. Sometimes I need to have a little bit of gospel music. There's a song called You Know My Name. And it's beautiful. But then there's some times where I need some old school music and I need to move my body. Sometimes I'm painting and I got to get up and just take that break. Or sometimes when I've completed a painting, I feel like, okay, it's a moment to dance. It's a moment to celebrate. And so, yeah, I do sometimes.
I love that. Thank you, Joellen.
And I advise that other people do it too.
I'm gonna move to this one, but we are gonna have time after, also in between, to talk, but definitely after, because I'm sure folks may have questions even more about your process, how you get into it, how you even decompress, because I know sometimes doing art might take a lot out of you. It might not. Everyone is different. But I'll make this one a little bit smaller so you can see all of it.
Okay, so that first painting is actually called Tears 2. There was a Tears 1. Tears 2 is just about how it was based on an experience that I had. I had gotten on the bus, and I remember seeing a young lady there that we lived in the same neighborhood. I didn't know her, but I remember that, like I recognized her. But when I saw her, I just kind of, I turned my head. I didn't say anything. And but when she saw me, she was like, hello. She was like, hello. I know we don't know each other, but we live in the same neighborhood. So she said out loud what I was thinking. And I said to her, I said, yes. I said, hi. I said, I was going to say hi, but I didn't think you were going to say hello. And she said, we have to stop, as sisters, we need to stop doing that to each other. As women, we need to stop doing that to each other. And so it was just like, we had this wonderful conversation just on a bus ride going to work. And then I found out that she lived right across the street, worked right across the street from my job. And so we ended up having lunch, and it was a traumatic experience for her. What happened is, at her job, she had a coworker who was murdered at the job. And so I think it was important for her to share it with me. You know, sometimes you hold things inside, and it was not just a coworker, but a friend. And so she was holding that. And I think that she needed to tell me that. And I think what the impression for me was that, you know, I was scared to talk to her. I don't know if it was a little insecurities, or maybe, you know, the fear of rejection, you know, but after she told me, I almost was a little angry with myself, just slightly, you know, that I wasn't going to say anything. And I tell you, the impression that she left on me was that from that time on, I speak to everybody. And that happened to me in my 20s. You know, I was very young when that happened to me. And I speak to everyone now. You know, I speak to strangers, you know, you know, because saying hello costs nothing. Saying hello costs nothing. I've been to different countries where I didn't speak the language, but someone's kindness was universal, you know? And so I take that, I bought this here because I felt like, you know, we're kind of, Monica, you've done this group that's so supportive. You know, we all come from different walks of life, but when we're together, it's like we know each other. When we see each other, it's like, hey, you know, and we should continue that, because you never know how you just saying hello may impact someone's life. You know, I lost contact with her. I did see her for like, I don't know, maybe about a month, but I think it was just for her to share with me that this traumatic thing that happened, and just to have someone, you know, console her or tell her that, you know, that had to be hard, you know, that had to be hard to see, you know. And so I wanted to do this painting, and it's really about, you know, her tears are just kind of a washing away of negative thinking and insecurities and fear, you know, and stepping out, you know, stepping out in faith, stepping out in just who we are, just to say hello, just to say, you know, how are you? And because, you know, I think as women, sometimes we're quick to judge each other's shoes and what we got on, but we're not always quick to say, hello, how you doing? Or, wow, you sure enough wearing those shoes today. You know, like we need to give each other compliments, you know, and uplift each other, you know. Empowered women, empowering women.
So I'm going to jump in here because I find it interesting in your painting that the lips are actually look like they're in the shape of a heart. So it's like when I hear you tell the story to the painting, it's like from that inner core, which down at the bottom, there's a circle, the core of who you are.
Yes.
And from the language that you speak and how it could be heard can allow you to create the flow of how life goes. It could be tears of joys, it could be tears of sorrow. But when I look back at that core again, I'm seeing movement within going around that core. So I see exactly what you're expressing, but I can see it go both ways. Like allow the inner core to speak the love and allow it to flow around yourself so that it can continue to speak love. That's what I feel from that.
I love it. I love what you said. And Joellen, I think I'm going to have to snatch you up and kidnap you and take you to all my exhibits.
I was like, did she make those lips to speak love? Because I'm seeing the love, but then it's starting with the core. Like, I don't know. It's like I hear your story and I'm like, ooh.
Well, usually, you know, it's funny because my sister asked me one time, she said, why are the lips not colored in? And, you know, it was just a representation of things that should have been said that weren't.
So on the chat board, our lovely friend says she was an angel and a smile face.
Yes. And I figured out how to get the chat.
I love it. I love it.
Well, then I throw it back to you.
No. Keep going. This is a group experience. And And Luisa, if you want to speak, you can. We can still do the chat. So please,
Yes.
everyone. And if I have the chat on this side, are you still able to see the painting? Okay. Okay. All right.
And, you know, if I could, I would definitely like to, you know, Joellen, first I want to tell you, thank you so much. Like you're speaking to me today, for real. Luisa, I want to dedicate that one to you because Luisa, you passed over to me all these different grants as an artist, you know, and you didn't take on the attitude, well, I found out about something, I'm gonna keep this to myself. And I thank you so much for sharing the information and asking me how I'm doing. And so I dedicate that to you today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much,
Bless you. Bless
Thank you,
Lisa.
thank you. I'm feeling it. I'm taking that with me today in my heart. Thank you so much.
All right. Bless you. Okay, so the last one, I think it's the last one.
Yeah.
You know, that quiet place that we were talking about. This is called In the Shadow of His Wing. It is based on a scripture in the Bible. But as you see the woman, she could be any woman. You know, she's in a kneeling position, and that's just about humility. You know, when we go before our higher power, it's just coming as you are. You know, I believe that God sees us good, bad, ugly, and he loves us anyway. But I think that he honors it when we come and we say, God, I need some help. The wings, this whole painting, I was thinking about heaven and things that I was taught about heaven, or things that I had seen as a child about heaven. You know, the gold background was about the streets of gold, and heaven was usually shown as just all white, which I think is beautiful as a sign of purity. But I tend to think that making it all white puts God in a box, and I don't put him in a box. I think that there are colors in heaven that we haven't even seen yet. And so the wings that are surrounding the woman, they represent God's protection and provision and his love. And so I had to do some majestic colors like purples and greens and blues. And as you see up above, there are these little sparkly gems. They represent blessings that God wants to bestow upon us. You know, it could be that book that you want to write. It can be that, you know, the business. It can be the group you want to start. It can be, you know, that decision to have a baby. You know, it could be anything that you want. But keep in mind that sometimes we have to be in the right position to receive it.
Well, I just got to give you what I vibe from this photo. So I'm actually seeing an owl.
Okay.
An owl.
I see it.
So when an owl makes its sound, you always think it's saying, who, who. So who are you? How do you see yourself through the mosaic of the life of the eyes of the owl, and deep rooted within the owl of asking, who are you, is the person that needs to surface through the vision of oneself. So I just, I saw an owl the moment I saw it, but then I also, when I took a step back and said, okay, if it's not an owl, if you feel it a different way, I felt like the movement of water was a pond, the choice of where do you choose again to take that mosaic look at yourself and see the reflection. So it really just is very moving to me that you could take it either way. You could take it as flow of art, flow of water, flow of who you're going to be. But then that owl just really just, who are you? And it's seated within you. It's a matter of how do you want to look through the pieces of, and it could be, hey, a person might say it as a shattered glasses, but all the shatteredness still can create beauty and light. So really amazing. Again, another one. So
well, thank you.
I see something on our chat board, Monica. I tossed it.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
So I see, let's see here. Owl means transformation. Ooh.
I love it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. I wouldn't know who at all.
Oh my goodness. Joellen, you are too much. And the other young lady, thank you for that transformation. One of the things that I love about my art is when it comes right back at me. I love it. I love it. And I thank you so much. I have a lot to, I still look at my paintings and look to see what I see. And you've given me some things to go back to and reflect on. So I do thank you for that. I mean it. I probably will have to kidnap you.
I don't mind being kidnapped.
All right.
Open for being her hype woman.
Yeah.
Open her shows, do the captions.
We love it.
I don't know. I mean, I love abstract art. I love art that allows you, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, still life at all. But when there's something about abstract, it allows each person to radiate their own feeling from it. And when you sit and you think, wow, this was poured paint, like holy Jesus. And then how you add in the piece to that is really powerful. I guess
I love it. I love it when everyone sees something, for themselves, like how they perceive it to be. I love it.
So Margie, if I can ask you a question, because I struggle a little bit about going back into my arts. And the reason is like, I used to love doing pottery. I love pottery. And when I took the mission to go small, all of a sudden I felt like, well, why do pottery anymore? What are you going to do with it? So how do you allow your mind to design without feeling that it needs to have an intention for it at the end?
I guess because there are sometimes my art pieces, I'm intentional about it. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what colors. And then there are times when I just allow myself to be free to create. And then it becomes something. And sometimes you don't have a title for it. You don't have a meaning for it yet, but you have a conversation with someone. You have a conversation with someone. And, I think as far as your pottery, please go back to it. Please. I definitely am looking to do some sculpting myself. But I think that also look at some on Instagram and also on Pinterest, there's people always doing, pottery and sculpting, something to get your juices flowing. But I think that you don't always know, but create anyway. If you feel like that, create an environment. I have moments where I don't feel like, painting, but at least write down. You know how sometimes I keep a little pad by my bed, because the idea won't let you sleep. Something comes upon you and it just won't let you sleep, and it's too late to actually get up and start the project. So it's like, write this down, write down, I want to draw this woman that has these, feathers and have these, different things. So I say, go gently, because you already have the talent. It's funny. I know a few artists who actually get high to get creative, but I have many more friends who tell you that you don't need to get high, that creativity is already there.
Yeah, I find it to be really interesting how your own mind, and when I was listening to you at the beginning, it's amazing how in the human mind, you struggle to give yourself the outlet for oneself. And then when you do it, at first you feel so guilty that you took the time, and you're like, oh, but then this is suffering and that is suffering. But it's also, I mean, because I've been doing a lot of writing around this whole mental thinking process that our brain does. And it's amazing how our own mind can create this block to be able to be creative or to be able to just do without having an expectation. And so what, you know, like in my mind, it was like, so what if you don't do pottery again? You don't know what you're going to do with it anyways, but I'm hearing you say, just express it. And then
Just
that
express
piece
it.
will find its way where it needs to go.
I
Even
think
if-
so. I think
even-
so, because I think that things that you've done in life, you may feel like, oh, I'll never use that again, but you will. I've always done art, even as a kid, you know, from, of course, kindergarten and all the way up until high school, and in college, I had my son. So of course, you know, that had to take first place, and things, you know, put on the back burner. And it wasn't until I've always done like his school, you know, I'm saying this, y'all should never ever quote this. Okay, y'all should never ever say this, repeat this again.
Don't worry.
I used to do his projects for school because I love doing them. I would just tell him, you know, go sit down, mommy got this. So that was my way of expressing my creativity. But it wasn't until much later that I went to a paint and sip. And something sparked, something said, you need to be doing this. I want to not just do it, but do it in my house and share it with people and show them how to do it. And so it started with that. I think the creativity was always there, but it has moments of lying dormant, you know?
Can I ask, how did you hear that? Because I think a lot of people have that moment. They don't always respond. So did you hear it? Like, did you feel it? Did you hear it? Did you see it? Because it's almost like intuition. We all have a different experience with it.
Right.
So or was it just a knowing that once you sat down and you painted, you were just like, I'm home?
Maybe it had something to do with the instructor rolling his eyes at me, because he wanted us to follow him, and I just went and did whatever I wanted to do. And I think it was just at that moment, it was just like, this brought me like such joy and satisfaction. And I never feel like my life is just my own. It's just so much bigger than that. And it's always about sharing and empowering others. And so, and when I did start the groups, you know, and I saw that women were coming together, and it didn't matter if you didn't know how to paint. People just wanted to come and try. And those that couldn't paint or said they couldn't paint, and they had this wonderful painting at the end, you know, it's like, wow, I didn't know I could do that, you know? And then it sparked them to do other things, you know, and the group in my house turned into going to the church to do it, or doing it in the community centers, and then private parties, and then doing my own personal art. So I say go back to it. I think it's a great time for you, Joellen. You did a wonderful thing. It took a lot of courage to go and get your small house, you know, to purge and take everything, to put it aside, to say, let me start this new chapter, you know, because
I mean, I think Louisa said something really powerful on the chat. She said more curiosity oriented than outcome oriented, which is like, yes, sparks. I mean, there were certain things that I did bring with me. I did bring my pottery tools. I did bring my coloring things. Like, certain things stayed with me, but there was a lot that I left go. And so I think that's the greatest thing is sometimes you think that it has to have a purpose when maybe it just doesn't need to have a purpose.
So can you give that to me one more time? Curiosity oriented.
Yeah. So it's actually in the chat. So so you can copy and paste it from there. It says more curiosity oriented than the outcome of the oriented.
Right.
So that makes perfect sense. I mean, I guess when you're in the mindset of being an entrepreneur, your brain is always trying to figure out, well, how do you make money? What do you do? How do you do this?
Right.
And part of it's not always anymore like about the money. It's more about, you know, where does it go? Where does the legacy leave? Where does it, you know, what does it spark for someone? Even if they don't know who did it or how they did it, it could change someone's life. So that's pretty powerful because it's powerful. Yeah, well, I think everything you're saying makes perfect sense.
And I just want to leave you with the idea that the purpose is just creation.
Yes.
It can just be simple as that. Like, that moment might just be for you, and then you don't know the ripple effect that that's going to then have when you talk to a client, when you see a friend, like you said, when you see someone on the bus. There is a level of, it's almost going back to the beginning of the conversation, that you were able to be a better daughter, a better friend, because you spoke to your doctor and said, hey, this is what I need. And sometimes just that first creative project is like, I just need it because my soul needs it. And it needs to get out, and I need to come back to center.
Well, and I think the way she, you know, because I wrote this, I was taking notes because I feel I really need this today, is balance is a process. So I'm also hearing that balance may not at any time be achieved. It could feel like it's achieved, but at the same time, it's still going to be something that needs to be worked upon. It's not like, oh, I hit the balance and now look, I'm so balanced. Look, I got this. When with life, is there anything called balance? I mean, like when you sit
living in this new normal.
Yeah, like when you sit and you say, oh, goodness gracious, I got my checklist done. Is that balance? I mean, so again, I think it's a really interesting how, and I say this with a lot of love and respect, how your mind triggers the sense of a balance or the sense of being unbalanced. And if you look at it as balance is just a process, it's better than thinking it's a destination.
Right. And so that's why I say, you know, I wish, you know, I could say, you know, I have balance in this bottle, and if you buy 2, I'll give you 1 for free, you know, but it doesn't work that way. But I think that the way we handle situations in our life means a lot. You know, how we handle them, you know, without allowing ourselves to go crazy, you know, be angry, you know, those things that won't solve the issues. Because, you know, sometimes people are going through some really rough stuff, you know, and it's just like taking those moments and thinking, you know, what can I do to get through this day? Sometimes it's like that. Is you know, it's that deep. It's like, what do I do just to make it to 9 o'clock this evening? What is it that I have to do? But I think that balance is not a sprint, but it's definitely a journey. It's not a sprint, it's definitely a journey. Yeah.
Luisa says, speaking of perspective, what's the name of the positivity book again?
Oh. Is it this one, the Project Happiness?
Yeah, Project Happiness. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks.
I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting. I mean, it talks about she made the decision to make her whole year about finding new happiness in her life. I'm not very far into it because this book kind of sparked another interest. So, you know, me, my $5 pack of books.
She, Gretchen Rubin, the author of that book.
Yeah.
If you don't find like the book, like you can't get past it, it's an easy read. But she also has like a newsletter and a podcast. And sometimes that's a little bit easier to take in just because you can kind of move with it. But it's interesting. She even has a quiz, which I really love, about like how you respond to inner and outer expectations. And that's a big part of like happiness, because sometimes we want to fight our own way of being because we're trying to be like someone else. Like going back to this for creativity, it's like if I'm sitting here being like, oh, I want to be creative the way Margie does it, the way her process is, it may not be my process. And that alone, that thought or that trying to be what someone else is doing can create so much unhappiness for me because I'm not being true. Almost like that painting that you had where it's like you own who you are. Your eyes are closed, you're facing the wind, you're letting, you know, like you're really taking it on, straight on, and accepting all of you.
Yeah.
I still find it to be so amazing how the mechanics of our minds work. Because we're always longing and searching for the right knowledge of what's going to make it snap perfect together, when more and more of the writing and reading that I'm doing for oneself has been, it's all here. all within. And then to accept the challenge that it is all within, and being the process of a balance, and letting go of the things that you don't need to find the journey, even if it's a split of a minute and a half, like whatever that sense of what balance could be for you, and you achieve it. It's amazing how the human mind struggles to say that you reached it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, wait a minute, that was too easy, let's try that again. And it's amazing how our mind, and I've been doing a lot of writing about my own thought. It's just amazing how it's like, yeah, the outlet of creativity and art, the outlet of writing, the outlet of reading, and then just allowing the mind to accept that you reached it is just, even for that moment, that's good. You got to be able to say that was great, but then that slippery mind comes back and you're like, whoa, that wasn't long enough.
Well, I think that also what's important is to have somebody who is your voice of reason. You may have that best friend, that sister, that brother, that husband. Sometimes we can go way out with our thoughts, and overthink things. And I have a voice of reason in my sister, and I have a voice of reason in my son. Sometimes in my creating, I'm like, I always got to, try and do something new. And my son will come in and he'll go, well, when did the last thing you did stop working? And he's like, keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes my sister's like, relax, let's do this first. This is not hard. We can, and she keeps me at peace and keeps me level-headed. Like, look, you're not by yourself. We got you, and I think that if you do have someone, lean on that sometimes. I think it's fine. And prayer doesn't hurt, and neither does meditation. Sometimes you need that too.
I got a lot of books on meditation.
Thank you. So I want to say, unfortunately, we're at the 2:00 mark, but I want to give Margie a chance. If there is anything on your heart that still wants to be said, if you know that there's something more that is just coming to you, to give you a chance to close us out.
I think whatever, I'm hearing a lot that whatever you're creative in, we're being called creatives. Sometimes you're called an artist, but you're called the creative. I think whatever that is, whether it's pottery, whether it's canvas painting, whether it's drawing and sketching, whether it's crochet, I think that love what you do, and continue to create with your own passion. Don't look to follow anyone else or be like anyone else. As I've heard before, be your own kind of beautiful, because you have something to give the world. You have something to give the world. You don't have to be like other people, be who you are. And even if someone is doing what you're doing, they can't do it quite like you, and so continue to just be true to yourself and stay with your creativity. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing a lot of your story, a lot of what your art process was. I have so many more questions, but I think and Louisa, I just want to give you a chance in case you have a question. I know you've been using the chat. Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you. It has been wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Monica, for opening this space for us. Thank you. Thank you, Joellen and Margie.
Do you have any last words? If you want, you don't have to.
That question geared to me or Margie?
Oh, yeah, Joellen, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I think the greatest thing to take away from all this, like when I think and reflect, is, focus on that one thing at a time and realize that balance is a process.
Yes.
So thank you for inspiring me that, and be your own kind of beautiful. Bye.
Yes. And I want to see some pottery soon.
Coming. I did some charms, but we didn't get to raccoon firing yet. So I'm patiently waiting for that process.
Okay, I'm patient.
All right. Thank you, ladies. I want to really appreciate that you took an hour of your time on Saturday. I know I've been talking to a few of you about how things are changing. So I really do appreciate, in the midst of spring and summer coming out and more of us wanting to move out and be outside, that we're still taking an hour today to be with each other, to listen to Margie's story, to see her beautiful art, to be inspired by it.
Thank you.
And I hope that you guys today, because of this talk, you know, you have a little more beauty in your life, a little more connection, a little more love, a little more inspiration and compassion and grace, because those were two of the biggest things that kept coming up, having more compassion and grace for ourselves.
Yes.
So I love you, ladies. I hope you have a great rest of the Saturday.
Yes, you too. You too.
So Monica, could you just finalize telling us a little bit about yourself as well, and how we would ever work with you?
Yes. So this is part of like Monica Ortiz coaching, is one of the offerings that I've started to do, thinking about different ways for us to be in community. So it's part of the free offerings that I have, including Paint and Flow. That's the third Saturday of the month. And so the next one tentatively is May 15th. But the paid version of, like, if you're like, I really like this, or I want more of like one-on-one support because I'm sitting here and there's this dream on my heart, I have a project, or like even some of the stuff that Joellen was saying, like my mind is getting in the way of me not even getting to that dream. And so that's where one-on-one coaching comes in. That's where I love talking to folks and supporting them and really getting you, you know, you have this dream in your heart, this vision, this like creative voice that wants to come through. And I get really excited to be able to support someone to just get all of that next step and to do it in a loving way, because I'm not about like, let's hustle until you're tired and burnt out. I want you to have everything that you can have, but also at the end of the day, like enjoy it and feel like you really are on this journey, and that kind of what, you know, Margie was saying, it is a process and there's never this end point, because once you get that one thing, there's going to be this other project that comes knocking on your heart.
Right.
And then you're like, oh my God, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So to recap, so basically, Monica, how does one person locate you? Is there a website, a special page?
Yeah, so MonicaOrtizCoaching.com. That's the best way. You can see the painting there. You can send me a message. On Instagram, it's also Monica Ortiz Coaching. That's another way to set up a free one-on-one call.
Wonderful.
And then also, I know Margie, you're on Instagram as well. Do you want to share your handle on Instagram?
Thank you. Yes, it's Margie O Art.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so if you follow either one of us, we've also tagged each other, so you can definitely find one or the other that way.
Well, thanks. I just wanted to make sure that we all knew how to find you both, since you're both so beautiful and moving. So
Thank you, Joellen. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies. I hope you
I
have
had a great
really
time with
good
you.
rest of the day. And Luisa has her celebration icon in the corner. So yes.
Yay! Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.